make sure that the sound, the video, everything is working properly, because if I don't, it could lead to a disaster. So I appreciate your couple of minutes patience here, just making sure that everything is going to start properly. So in the meantime, feel free to say hello in the chat if you're watching the recording of this. Feel free to say hello in the comments. Always love to hear from new and returning students. So it looks like everything started. Let me just double check here. All right, it looks like everything's pretty good. So how's everybody doing today? Just give me another minute. We're all good to go. I need to start the Facebook stream. In the meantime, just feel free to say hello, and then we'll get started. So just less than a minute, and we'll be all ready to go. Hello students, your piano teacher Tim here from Piano Lessons on the Web, back once again. If it's your first time in attendance, make sure that you have liked our page on Facebook, Piano Lessons on the Web, and you have subscribed over on YouTube and turned on all notifications by hitting that bell button, because we have new lessons coming out all the time and you don't want to miss a beat. Specifically, the live lessons, if you want to attend on a regular basis, are Fridays and Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just saying hello to some people here. Hello, Ramona. Hello, Jeremy. We got GB back once again with Blue. Yes, you were correct. We got Barbara back. Santiago from Greetings from Spain. Greetings. Greetings, Gene. Hi, I'm new, never viewed live. I'm a beginner, but an old guy. Well, welcome out, Gene. Glad to have you with us. We got the Bird 101 back once again. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. Ramona, yeah, Lalo, I think I got pretty much everybody. So we're going to get started here. Let me just get my notes up, and then we'll finally be ready to go. Your piano teacher, Tim here, and today I'm going to share with you some mistakes that beginners always make on the piano as hurting their progress. And by always, I mean always, and you're probably making some of these mistakes too. You want to make sure you check around to the end of the lesson, because as we go, the mistakes that I'm going to tell you about are more and more important and less obvious. So let's get started. Okay, how am I looking and sounding? Good? Yeah, I don't have any complaints here. If there's ever a problem with the audio or video, please let me know in the chat. Like, be really obnoxious about it. But it looks like we're good to go. So I'm going to start here with thing number one. Let me bring up one thing. I'm pretty much there already. There we go. Okay, mistake number one that beginners always make is that they will work on a part that they're already good at, and let me try that again. Okay, mistake number one that beginners always make is that they will play over what they are already good at over and over and over again, and then skip over what they're not as good at. So just kind of an example here, we have this minuet here, and say I've been learning this for a few weeks, and naturally, instinctively, you're going to start from the beginning when you start learning the piece, and there's no problem with that at all, except when you start to get to be a few weeks in, what'll happen is your beginning of the song will be so good because you're starting it from there all the time. And what'll tend to happen is, like, you might get to the third line and have a lot of trouble there. Makes sense, we always have our trouble areas. But what a lot of students will do is they won't start their practice session from there. They'll just keep starting from the beginning all the time. And what that does is that makes the beginning super good, and then the problem areas not as good. So that's the first mistake you want to avoid, is just going over what you're already good at. In fact, I recommend you start out your practice session, other than warm-ups, even with your warm-ups, start those with the ones that you're not good at. So if you're learning scales, start with the scale you're not good at. Okay, here we go. We're going to get on to number 2 here. Okay, perfect. This next mistake plagues everybody. It even still gets me a lot of times if I'm not consciously aware of that and aware of it. And this mistake, of course, is playing too fast. So this is especially a problem in pieces that students know really well. So say you're trying to learn a popular pop tune or something like that. So what a lot of students will do is they'll try to play it at full speed right away. I know that was a Christmas song. But what that will do is you might be able to start out at that speed, but what will happen is you'll get halfway through the piece and then all of a sudden you're really trudging through it, and that will cause you to skip mistake areas as well. So make sure you're going through these pieces. Like if I'm playing this minuet, I might want to start out playing it almost painfully slow, but what that will do is that will help me make sure I'm not making any mistakes, both with the notes and the rhythms, making sure I'm retaining that accuracy there. Just like that. Because what will happen is, like, if a student knows a song really well and they play it at full speed, they will unknowingly skip over mistakes, or what will happen is they'll remember it a certain way in their head, but the actual song is different. And if you looked at the sheet music, you would know that. So it's kind of like a Mandela effect thing where you're like, the song has to do this. I always remember it that way. But no, you want to double check with your sheet music. Go slow to make sure that you are as accurate as possible, because that is very important when learning piano. All right, on to mistake number 3. All right, I'm going to check in with the chat like real quick just to make sure everybody is good. No tech issues, Tim. Great. Perfect. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute. All right, I'm going to get right on to the next one. Just want to make sure that everything is operating smoothly. Here we go. Oh, 45 watching now. Everybody, we need to make it to 50 people watching at once. So make sure you are letting people know on your social media that we're meeting live right now. We need to hit that 50 mark. All right, here we go. Oh, here we are. Perfect. Okay, the third mistake, this one is really important. And like I said, as the list goes on, they get more and more important. This one has to do with playing. Wait a second. Oh, yeah. Yeah, never mind. Sorry. This mistake, the third mistake that students commonly make, is very, very important. And it's something that I've had students who start to become more advanced, they skip when they're a beginner, and then they realize what a problem it is as they get into the intermediate and advanced, and they start playing the more difficult pieces. And I am talking, of course, about writing in and making sure that you are using the correct finger numbers for each of these pieces. So as you know, or you may have noticed throughout your piece, you have numbers over some of the notes. Well, that's telling you what note to hit and what finger to hit that note with. And the whole purpose of using the correct fingers is that it will prevent you from running out of fingers. And what I mean by that is, say you're playing the C major scale and you use just any old fingers. Well, if I do that, no, this is what I want. Say you're playing the C major scale and you just use any old finger technique. Well, what happens is at G, you have 3 more notes in the scale. I've run out of fingers, meaning I don't have any more fingers to play the rest of the scale with. So if you use proper finger technique, meaning you're crossing at the right places, having the right fingers on the right notes, that will help you play up and down the keyboard very effectively without running out of notes and having to have your palms face really weird ways. You never want that to be the case. So make sure you're writing in the finger numbers. A lot of them will be written in for you, especially with the beginner pieces. But if there's a certain passage where you're just really struggling getting the fingering down, write down the finger numbers for each note. It's going to take a little trial and error at times to find what works for you. In general, you want to use the same fingering that you've been using for your scales, your arpeggios, your chords. That's why it's so important that you learn these things on their own, because when you start putting them into your music, you'll see that right away and be like, okay, that's an F major chord in second inversion. I know the fingering for that is 5-2-1 because I've been practicing this so much. So you'll be able to identify these things so much better and get them so much better. All right, on to mistake number 4. All right. A huge mistake that beginners always make, is that, well, let me try that again, sorry. The fourth mistake that beginners always make is that they will try to play a piece way above their level. This is super common. It causes so many people to quit piano because what happens is, like, they'll have an idea. You'll have an idea in your mind. You'll be like, oh, man, I really always wanted to play for Elise. Well, what'll happen, it's like that meme, like what your expectations are versus reality. What'll happen is, at least unless you're like some kind of, naturally talented prodigy, what'll happen is you'll go to play for Elise and you'll be like, oh my goodness, maybe I can play it. But the problem is that it'll take me 10,000 years and I won't be on the earth anymore by the time I finish the piece. That could be a problem. Well, the real problem is that you're trying to play something way above your current level. What you need to do is you need to work your way up. I would learn, first of all, I'd learn like exercises first. I actually have a lesson on this. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. It's about like what you should learn as a beginner. But anyway, you should learn 5-finger exercises, really just going up and down the keyboard like that. That just helps you get your hands in position here. I would then learn maybe some scales. You might want to learn them hands separate first. Some arpeggios. So start with some exercises, but in terms of pieces, I would learn nursery rhymes. I would learn Jack and Jill Up the Hill. What, a basket full of water or something like that? Or, This Old Man. All those old nursery songs you remember hearing as a kid, learn those. Those are really easy. They don't involve moving your hands all over the piano constantly. Like for Elise, has quite a bit of movement for somebody that's just starting out. Okay, let's get on to the next mistake. But before we do, if you're liking the lesson so far, you find it helpful, make sure you smash that like button. It lets other people know it's a quality lesson they can learn from as well. All right, on to the next mistake. All right. Yes. Here we go. Something that's critical that beginners often neglect, and it's unfortunate because they think it's boring and that it's not fun to learn, but what you really need to learn, and this will hurt you if you don't, is music theory, which is like generally how, notes interact with each other, how chords are built, how scales and keys are built. This stuff is so important to you as a piano player because as you develop this knowledge, it's kind of like a toolbox. You probably hear teachers talk about your toolbox a lot. What'll happen though is you'll start to look at pieces and you won't look at pieces anymore in terms of individual notes. Like if I'm a beginner, I might take a look here at the first note and be like, okay, that's a D. Okay, and then I have some notes down the left hand. You got G, B, and D. And, it would take you a lot longer than that even if you were just starting out. So that would take forever. So what you want to do is you want to develop knowledge of music theory because I can look at this and be like, okay, G major chord in the left hand, outlining a C chord there. So it just gives me a whole lot more to go on. I have some scale segments, some intervals going on. So it gives you a lot more to go by. This also includes things, believe it or not, well, I'm sure a lot of you can believe because you are doing this, is that students won't just skip music theory. They'll skip reading music altogether, and they'll just learn using synesthesia or something like that. Synthesia, if you don't know, is like it's like a game kind of thing where these colored bars come down and you basically replicate the song that way. There's a lot of drawbacks to that. Really, the main drawback that you have to know right now, I can make a lesson just on this, is that you won't develop the skills to be able to learn on your own. You will become so dependent on Synthesia. Another drawback is that Synthesia doesn't have things like dynamics in it. It doesn't have articulations. So you're missing a lot of what makes the music what it is using Synthesia. But if you learn how to read music, you will be so much more of a versatile musician. You'll be able to just look at a piece of music and you'll be able to, I mean, if you practice your sight reading, you'll be able to play through it. It might not sound fantastic right away, but you'll get that satisfaction being able to play it through right away. One of the big things that's really hard to get over as a beginner piano student is that it takes so much time for a piece to start sounding the way it's supposed to. You know, if I'm learning for Elise, you know, a lot of us know what that is. But if I'm playing it at this speed, right, it doesn't sound like anything. I mean, I know what it's supposed to sound like, but, you know, it's really hard to put it together, and it can be really frustrating. But the better you get at learning to read music, your music theory, and sight reading, and all these other things of how music's put together, you'll be so much better off. You'll be able to learn pieces 10 times faster. No clickbait here. Although somebody will accuse me of that, but that's okay. You're not a YouTuber until somebody accuses you of clickbait. All right, let me check in. I have a couple more. I want to check in with the chat real quick just to make sure everything is going great. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat, Jeremy. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support. Did we get to 50? We got 51 watching, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. 53 and my cat. Perfect. All right, guys, I'm going to get back to the lesson here. Thank you so much again to Jeremy for that super chat. Appreciate that. And all of your support just by being here. Really appreciate it. Okay, let me get on to the next one. This kind of ties everything together. This is like the most important point of the whole thing. So just give me a second. Okay, this mistake is probably the most important one because it ties together literally everything else I've talked about so far. It combines it into one thing. And that is when you look at a sheet of music, and when beginners look at a sheet of music, what do you see? Well, notes, right? Well, like I just mentioned a minute ago with the other mistake, is that you want to start developing a more comprehensive understanding of what's going on in the music that you are playing. So, like I said, it helps to learn all the theory and things like that, but this takes it a step further because what you're going to do is you're actually going to take a minute or two before you even play the piece to analyze the piece in what's going on. Some of the things I might be looking out for are time signature, those numbers right there in the beginning. Key signature, you know, what notes are sharp or flat throughout the song. That also kind of tells you what chords you can generally expect throughout the piece in general. So you want to look out for that. You want to look out for maybe any accidentals. These are sharps or flats not in the key signature. So you want to take your time. And I can't tell you how many times students actually do learn theory and everything, but they never get to that final step of applying it to what they're actually doing. So before you even begin, take 2 minutes, look at your piece, analyze it the best you can. And I'm telling you what, this will save you probably a dozen playthroughs, because if you don't analyze this ahead of time, you're going to be analyzing it as you play. So what'll happen is you'll start, you know, the piece here, and say I didn't look at any of that stuff, and then I'll be like, oh wait, in that measure, that didn't sound right. Oh, because there's an F sharp there. Okay, and then like in this measure, I had too many beats there. Oh, there's only 3 beats in a measure. So it really, really saves you a lot of time to just take a minute or two, analyze what you're doing first. Okie-doke. Hey, I want to say thank you so much to Tyler Tupa for the $2 super chat. Thank you so much for your support, Tyler. Really, really appreciate it. Let me get the chat up here. We have reached 50 people, everybody. I'm so happy. We probably could have gotten more if I advertised for it for a little bit more. But anyway, thank you so much, Jeremy. Thank you so much. Anybody else? If I got any other super chats, if I missed any, I apologize. Thank you so much, Tyler. How do I learn all the different scales easily? Everybody loves these loaded questions in the chat, which is fine. Let me get you a lesson for a second, and then we will move on. I need to give you guys a couple announcements. Nothing crazy. Let me look up a lesson of mine on YouTube really quick. So you wanted to learn all the scales easily. Here's a pro tip for anybody, just like in general. So say you're wondering if I did a lesson on something. So you type in, like, say how to read music, and then just type in lessons on the web or piano lessons on the web. That's the same thing. And that'll bring up pretty much all the lessons I've made about that. I don't know why that's showing up. I wonder if he put my channel in his tags. He's not supposed to do that. Anyway, that's kind of how you do it. So if we were looking up scales, right? Just type in scales, piano lessons on the web. And oh, hey, take a look. There's quite a few lessons here. There's how to play all 12 major scales with fingering. I'm going to give you a link to that one. You also want to check out this two-hand training exercise where I go in a little bit more detail on scales and how to learn them. But you want to start out with this one. Let me get you the link here. Let's see here. How to learn scales. Here you go. Check that one out. Hey, Rich is here. How you doing, Rich? Glad to have you back with us once again today. All right, let me walk everybody through what's going on here with the channel. First of all, if you go to my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com, I have courses that can help you learn a lot more about piano and music. So whether you're a beginner, and you want that solid foundation to build on, or you've been following me for a while and you're looking to take your existing skills to that next level, then my courses will help you do just that. So feel free to read about what my courses can offer you. And then the only other thing I want to mention is that I recommend picking up a course pack because you can actually get a much better deal than purchasing them individually. It's also kind of easier to follow because say you're a beginner and you're just starting out, you probably just want to pick up the beginner's pack because that gives you the 4 core courses you need to build on. If you've been following me for a little while, you probably want to start at the intermediate pack, and if you're beyond that, you probably want to do the advanced pack or pick up that all course access. It looks like I forgot to remove the spring sale, so I will be doing that in the next day or two. It looks like I removed the notice for it. But anyway, on to the community tab. So on my website, you click on community, and if you want to attend on a regular basis, fill out this form here. You're going to get an email reminder 30 minutes before we meet. And then if you scroll down further, this is the most important part. We have the calendar of what we're talking about and when. So we are meeting, we meet Friday, Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as you can see on Sunday, just 2 days from now, we're going to be having the student showcase. I forget whether this is student showcase number 4 or number 5 or 3. No, it must be 4 because I think we started it in the beginning of the year in January. All right, anyway. So anyway, what the student showcase is that you will submit, it's optional, obviously. I critique recordings of our students playing piano. So you send me a recording throughout the month over at tim@lessonsontheweb.com or over on my Facebook page, and I'll collect the recordings throughout the month. And then at the last live stream of the month, the student showcase, I review the recordings that I got. So you can kind of think of it as like a private lesson, kind of. Although I'm doing a lot of other people, but I will be reviewing just your playing, with your clip. So you kind of get some direct feedback that way. So that's pretty cool if you are interested in that. Next Friday, I'm excited about this one. I've been practicing these Chopin preludes for you. So I hope you enjoy them when we go over that next Friday. And then the pop song chord progression, if you ever wanted to learn to play pop music, you'll want to check that one out. And I can leave it to you to read what we're going to be covering into May. And then into June, guys. I can't believe I even uttered those words. June is only one word. But anyway. All right, so check out the community tab if you have not been there yet. So, yeah. Hey, we got Avi back once again. Thank you so much for coming, Avi, and having you back. Thank you so much, or welcome out, Shane. Glad to have you with us. And anybody else that's new here today, feel free to say hello. I'm not saying that Avi's new, but I think Shane is new and some others. You always feel free to come back anytime. Always love to talk to new and returning students. So everybody just give me a couple of seconds. I need to take a drink here. Any questions about what we talked about today? I'm finally remembering to grab a drink, guys. After 3 years, I finally got it. It was hard to figure out. Hello to Pratt U Show once again. Glad to have you with us. All right, any questions about what we talked about today? Let me kind of scroll through. Hello, Roxana. We got Ramona here again. Adria here, of course. There's some intermediate level parts. For Elisa's easy, but not that easy. Yeah, for the beginning, like the first 3 lines are fairly manageable for most people, and then it definitely gets more difficult. And it is not good for somebody that's just starting out. Funky Friday there, Tim, says Adria. Well, thank you very much. Find out fingering by trying the most efficient set. Yep. Hello, Randy's here once again. Glad to have you with us, Randy. We got Felix. You have a cool name there, Felix. Hey there. How to determine proper finger numbers when not given the sheet. You know what? And I need to make a new lesson on this. Let me get you a link. I always like to get everybody links because it kind of, can describe or solve their problem better than I can right now anyway. Finger lessons on the web. Where is it? This lesson didn't do that great, but I don't know. I don't see it. It must have not really done that great since I can't even find it. Here we go. All right, incoming. So, finger numbers. Okay, finger technique. Talk about music theory, please. Okay, music theory is the study of music. There, that's good, right? All right, let me get you a link for the music theory stuff as well. Here we go. You know what? I want you to check out this lesson. I made this lesson a little over a year ago, and it didn't perform well, but it's actually a really good lesson. Here, check this out. Here you go, music theory. Check this lesson out. That will catch you most of the way up. Having problems with fingering the B scale. Okay. So the B scale, the thing about the B scale is that the right hand uses the same fingering that you've probably been using with the C scale. So with the C scale, it's 1, 2, 3, and then you cross under with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the same with B. You play 1, 2, 3, cross under with 1, and then you have enough fingers to finish out the scale. Coming back, it's the opposite. Now, here's the thing, is that with the right hand, when you get to here, you're like, oh man, what do I even do? So you actually can use that fingering. It's really hard to do. So what they do for B is that you'll start on finger 4 instead of finger 5. So the B left hand B fingering is 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pretty easy to remember. 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. Are you excited for Endgame? No, because I actually have not watched all the other movies. Hey, Tim, I have a piano recital on Mother's Day. Well, congratulations, the bird. Best of luck to you on Mother's Day. So, yeah. All right, everybody. Any other questions about what we talked about today? If not, we might adjourn a little bit early, and then we'll just meet on Sunday for our student showcase. I'm trying to think if I have any other announcements for you guys. Oh, I guess like Tuesday tip, where's Tuesday tip, which nobody has been asking me, which I guess is fine. which if you don't remember was like a mini series I was putting out on Tuesday for a while, where it was like one singular tip. It's a really short video, like one single tip to apply to your piano practice all week. That will come back at some point. I think for right now, though, I need to kind of reinvent it back at the chalkboard. So, Alicia says this is part of music theory. That is true. Okay, Tim, thanks. You're very welcome, Bernadine. Yeah, so just start it with finger 4 with your left hand. That should help. And make sure you are subscribed. You have all notifications turned on. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like anything else I had to tell you. The lesson was a little bit short today. It was a good lesson, though. I think people really enjoyed it, and I think it's going to turn out to be a really good lesson here when it comes out. The edited version comes out next week. Javi says, I always talk about everything except the questions related to the lesson. That's okay. A lot of people do. All right, any other comments or questions? Gene says, this was very good, Tim. Thank you. Tuesday tips really helped me. Well, glad to hear that, Gene. So I will bring it back in the future. It's just that I was kind of like, I felt like it was just kind of, I was kind of running out of ideas for it. I know there are tons of tips more that I can make videos on. I just need time to just come up with a good list of ones to do. Because the ones, like I found out that after a while, it come up with an idea on like, oh man, that would make a really good Tuesday tip. But then like, I found out like, all right, I already did that. I already did that. And it kept happening. So I need to kind of reinvent it. Okay. Thanks, Tim. Good lesson. You're very welcome, Randy. Glad to have you with us. It actually looks like the one thing I was working on over the last couple weeks was, you might not even notice, but arranging the camera and the angle and everything so that it actually looks a lot better. It's a very very kind of thing that it's hard. What am I looking for? It's subtle difference. Hey, Gene says, I'm 70, really enjoying piano. Glad to hear that, Gene. Glad to have you with us as well. All right, everybody. I think that's going to be it for today. You know, a little bit shorter of a lesson, but I think it was a really quality one. We will be meeting again Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That time seems to be working with a lot of people. I know that it doesn't work for everybody, but it's working really good for me, at least. Have a lot more energy this time of day. How to adjust yourself. That's a good idea. I actually have that down as a lesson idea, I think. Let me just make sure. Oh, and then the other announcement I had was I'm making a new course, at least pretty soon. I'm just kind of like outlining it right now. A new course on music analysis. And this one's going to be really important, really not only for like people that are more advanced, but beginners as well. Because it's going to train you basically what we talked about today. Remember at the end of the lesson today, I talked about how you should be using theory, your knowledge of theory, chords, all this stuff, key signatures, and actually applying it, really taking the time to analyze the piece of music ahead of time. Well, this is going to be a course all on that, and it's going to be super helpful for pretty much everybody, no matter where you're at in the piano learning experience. Shane says, how do you do the left hand for the B scale again? Yeah, I can explain this again. Here's how you do it. So your notes are B, C sharp, D sharp, E. So those are your first 4 notes, those 4. You got the 3 black keys here, and then the white key, just in case you don't have the notes down. But you want to start with fingers 4. You 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the first half of the scale. And the second half of the scale is quite simply 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. And then coming down, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. So really not too complicated. Avi says, wait, are you talking to somebody, Avi? Avi says, I can't afford it myself right now, but if Tim can use for like 4 years, I'm sure I'll buy the lessons. Thank you very much. I got the bird 101. So, Tim, my hands go faster than my eyes, and it messes up my song a lot. Play slower. Because what'll happen is if you play slower, yeah, it's going to seem slow for your hands, but you really need to play it at a speed where all of your mental facilities, all of your limbs, all of your things involved can keep up. Like, so if your fingers can keep up, but your brain can't, what you need to do is just slow the whole thing down. You need to slow it down to the whole thing down to the point where your brain can keep up. And yeah, it's going to seem rudimentary and slow and easy and dumb with playing it at that speed, but that's the speed you need to play it because you need to catch your brain up to where your fingers are at. Thank you. Great lesson. Thank you so much. Lalo, thank you so much for the nice, kind words. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a formal outro, so when I cut it all together, it makes sense. And let me see. Okay. I have a lot of other lessons here on YouTube on what mistakes you need to avoid to learn this or that, so check those out. Make sure to check out some of the other lessons on the channel. Make sure you subscribe. You have all notifications turned on because we have new lessons coming out all the time, and you don't want to miss a beat. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, here once again. It's been a great lesson. I'm glad to be with you, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Perfect lesson for me, says Jose. Well, glad to hear that. It's always good to hear that people are getting something out of the lessons. All right, everybody, I think I'm going to check out for today. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, anybody, to Jeremy and somebody else who left me a super chat. I apologize. Tyler, that's right. You're fairly new, Tyler, but thank you so much for that. And thank you, everybody, for attending. Remember to go to pianolessonsontheweb.com if you either want a really solid foundation to build on as a beginner or you're looking to take your existing skills to that next level. I mistakenly left up the spring sale, so that will probably correct itself by Monday. Just throwing that out there. All right, everybody, thanks for coming by. I'll check you out. I'll talk to you on Sunday for the student showcase. So thanks for coming by. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, and I'll talk to you in the next lesson. Thank you so much. Hey, Avi, thank you so much for the 40, whatever that is, super chat. I'm not familiar with everybody's currency, but thank you so much, Avi. So everybody give Avi a round of applause. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. Wow, I got it. Thank you. Great lesson. Happy to have found this on YouTube feed. All right, glad that you found it on the YouTube feed, Shane. It's a miracle with how YouTube works these days. John says, just go to here. Okay. Part of the lesson is the end. All right, everybody. Don't go now. Oh, you just got here. I see. Yeah, but the problem is that I'm out of stuff. That's the problem, John. All right, John. We will meet again Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you show up then, and you'll be good to go. I'm sorry that you got here late and you're missing the end part of the lesson. But the good news is that you can check out the recording, which I believe is available instantly at the same link. And then it'll be posted up on the channel a little bit later. So check that out. Sorry that you missed the end. But at least you can check out the recording, and I'd be more than happy to have you back in a future live stream. So you're always welcome back, John. But thanks everybody for coming out, and have a great day. Good night, Pratyusha. And in my country, a nice day. All right. Have a nice day, Lalo. I'm not sure where you're from. Are you the one from Spain? Well, somebody said they're from Spain. I'll catch you next time. Cool. All right. Thanks, John. All right, everybody. Have a great day.